Constitution is the governing law of our country. But what are the laws that govern our country before the adoption of the Constitution? Let's go into it without any further delay. 1857 revolt, the revolt in which Jhansi Lakshmibai and Mangal Pandey participated. Before this revolt, our country was governed by East India Company. It was a British trading company. Our country was governed at central level through Governor General and assisted by his council, and at provincial level it was governed by Governor assisted by his council. Provinces means states in those times were called as provinces. After 1857 revolt, British government took over the governance of our country from East India Company. And Indian Councils Act 1861 was passed, in which Indians have no representation in any of these councils. And in the year 1885, Indian National Congress was formed and it started demanding representation for Indians in the councils. Later, Indian Councils Act 1882 was passed, in which Indians were given some representation in Legislative Council, but in Executive Council, Indians were not given any representation. Obviously, this did not satisfy Indians and they started demanding more. And in the year 1909, Minto-Morley reforms or Indian Councils Act 1909 was passed, in which representation for Indians was increased in Legislative Council, but in Executive Council, Indians were still not given any representation. Before passing of this act, members were nominated by the British government. But after passing of this act, for the first time, members were elected indirectly. Indirect elections means not everyone can vote, but only certain people representing plantation workers, municipalities, traders can vote. They were allowed to discuss budget and can pass a resolution, but government was not bound by it. Remember guys, in those times there was no responsible government. Responsible government means executive answerable to legislature. Currently, our government, our ministers are responsible to our parliament. Means they are answerable to our parliament. But in those times, that's not the situation. Later, Gandhi entered into Indian freedom struggle and Indians started demanding for self-government. And in the year 1919, Montagu-Chelmsford reforms or Indian Councils Act 1919 was passed, in which its preamble says maximum autonomy to provinces as a step towards self-government. Remember guys, this is the first time British government used the word self-government. At central level, there was still no responsible government and no significant changes were made from the earlier act. But at provincial level, there were some significant changes. When it comes to executive at provincial level, diarchy or dual government was introduced, which means subjects belonging to the provincial executive were divided into reserved and transferred. Subjects of vital importance were kept reserved and they were governed by governor along with his council, and the council members were appointed by King of England, and subjects which were of less importance were called as transferred subjects and they were governed by governor assisted by his ministers. These ministers were appointed from the elected representatives of state legislature. But still there was no responsible government. Governor is not bound by the minister's advice, nor the ministers were answerable to legislature. Though the word self-government was used, still it is not truly self-government when it comes to provincial executive. When it comes to provincial legislature, it was almost similar to the previous acts. Later, freedom struggle got intensified and British government, in order to pacify Indians, formed Simon Commission. But Indians were not satisfied with its report. As a counter, Nehru Committee report was submitted by Indians. Later, 3 roundtable conferences were conducted between Indians and British government. And finally, a white paper was submitted in which British government agreed to form responsible government even at center. Till now, there was no responsible government at center. And second one is, it agreed to form a federal government with autonomous provinces. But to form a federal government, British government made a precondition that at least 50% of Indian states, which are princely states, has to agree to join into federation. Princely states means Nizam, Kashmir state, which were ruled by Indian kings. On the Joint Select Committee report headed by Lilithgow, Government of India Act 1935 was enacted. According to this act, diarchy was introduced even at federal level. Earlier, only at provincial level diarchy was there. However, formation of federal government could never come into existence because 50% of princely states did not agree to join into federation. The legislature consisted of 2 houses. One is Council of State, which is a permanent house. It is similar to our Rajya Sabha. Another one is Legislative Assembly. It is similar to our Lok Sabha. Legislative Assembly consisted of elected representatives of British India, but when it comes to princely states, the members were only nominated but not elected. And this election was based on communities. Because of this community-based elections, the differences between Hindus and Muslims further aggravated. When it comes to provinces, it is almost similar to federal government.